Thank you again for joining in to our video series where I'm interviewing Kingdom entrepreneurs and investors. Today we have Austin Conwell with us. Thanks, man, for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so let's jump right in. Who are you and what do you do?
I'm a mortgage lender here in the Tulsa area. Service not only Oklahoma, but 8 other states as well. So primarily doing residential real estate, helping on the lending and financing side of things.
So there's a ton of different companies out there. What kind of sets you apart from other, different loan banks or loan originators?
The main thing is going to be, one is my team. And my dad has built an excellent team over the years, tons of experience. But then for OneTrust Home Loans specifically, we not only have residential lending with portfolio programs, land loans, things like that. We have commercial loans and a variety of other portfolio programs.
That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about what makes you a little bit different than, say a bank or some of the other originators out there.
I think it comes back to communication and the team aspect of things. That's something that we really try and market ourselves as, and then also have that communicated to the clients that we have an extremely knowledgeable staff, excellent on the professionals on the back end of things, not only on the front side, sales side of things, but also client facing. Underwriters and processors in-house.
Cool. Tell me a little bit about some of the loan products that you have for either new homeowners or people that are existing or people that want to build. Yeah. What are some of the cool products that you are able to showcase?
So a lot of mortgage companies have first-time homebuyer programs, and we have those as well. So there's lots of down payment assistance programs out there for residents in the state of Oklahoma. There's one called REI, there's one called OHFA. So those are state programs. Sometimes they're grants, other times they're second mortgages. But those are excellent programs out there for first-time home buyers. You also have programs, general programs like FHA, USDA, VA, and conventional loans. And those down payment ranges for those products and first-time home buyers can go from anywhere from 0% up to 5% in some of those cases.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about if someone wanted to build their home.
If they wanted to build their home, so we have one-time close and two-time close construction. So in a one-time close construction, your permanent financing as well as your build cost is all financed and closed in one single loan at the beginning of the process. With two-time close constructions, you're financing specifically the construction side of things and then closing with permanent financing once that construction's been completed.
Cool. So tell me a little bit about your process. If someone was to come to you and ask you, hey, I'm thinking about buying a home, different things along those lines. Tell me a little bit about that journey and how you guys help.
Absolutely. So our process is really the same whether somebody is coming in and they bought 10 houses or one house, and then also depending on their timeline. So it doesn't matter if they're buying in 1 month or they're 3 years out and they're just making a game plan. We want to start and take those clients through the same process. So it starts with the application, because ultimately that's what really gives us the pieces of that client's puzzle that allows us to see the whole picture, not just parts of it that they want to kind of let us know initially. We really have to see the full picture so we can know this is where you're at and this is where you need to go, and these are the steps we need to take to get there. And we can't do that unless we have the application. So the first thing is we're always starting with that application. From there, we take all clients. So if they're local, we'll take them through an in-person consult. So that's 45 minutes to an hour where we have them come into our office at 81st and Mingo. If they're in Oklahoma City or out of state, we'll do a Zoom consult with those clients and walk them through not only loan products that could fit their needs, but also a range of cash to close options and payment options that they're likely to see. Because one, we don't want people blindsided by payment and cash to close. That's never good. But then we also want clients prepared, and really it provides value to agents as well, is if that client's financially prepared for the houses that they're actually looking at, once they're done with their consult with us, they should be able to go out, and if they know their number is $300,000 in terms of a purchase price, and everything under that they're comfortable making offers on, then one, that speeds up the transaction for the agent, that client feels taken care of, that they know that not only does it meet their goal for the home planning, but it allows them to save for emergency fund or things like that.
Yeah, so that's in an ideal world where someone comes to you before and even you're along in the process.
Yeah.
Now, I know how fast you work.
Yeah.
There are some people that look at a house one day,
Yes.
then call you, and then you go ahead and start working. So tell me about that tight turnaround, maybe a story or something along those lines, that it wasn't ideal, but you guys still hammered it out.
Absolutely. So one comes to mind just a couple weeks ago, just Sunday afternoon. Generally, I like working with, hopefully, like, people have worked, Monday through Friday, but all the time it happens, like you said, where they're looking at houses on Saturday or Sunday, and they're like, I didn't think I was going to make an offer, but I really want to make an offer now. And so this was on a Sunday, just finished lunch with my family. An agent actually reached out to me, said that they had a client that potentially wanted to make an offer. The client had a connection to a lender, but that lender wasn't able to do anything Sunday. And so they asked me, and I said, absolutely. Kind of walked through some of questions that I generally have. Everything looked good and sounded good, so I was willing to help out. And I sent them they applied. I sent them a pre-approval. Everything looked great. Sent them a pre-approval that afternoon, and we're here to close. I think we're closing 2 weeks early too. So
Yeah, you guys are really great. So tell me a little bit about an ideal client that you guys like, and what does success mean for both of you guys?
I think, and I can speak for myself. Obviously, we have a team of loan officers, and my dad has built something incredible. But for me, the type of client that I want to work with is somebody who's willing to learn, that's open to ideas. Sometimes we get clients that are just all numbers driven, don't really care about our advice or what we think is wise or unwise. But there are plenty of clients who really appreciate that sound financial advice, that we're not going to put them into a home that they can't afford. If they're investors that doesn't cash flow, we want to make sure that they're set up not just for the home purchase, but financially for the long haul.
Great. So let's take a little shift here. We talked a lot about business. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your story and faith.
So we're sitting in Christian Chapel right now. So this is kind of for me where it all started. My parents moved to Christian Chapel, I think maybe a month or so after I was born. I'm not sure on the exact timeline, but I've been here for a long time. And so I remember probably I was 4 or 5 coming to Christ here. And I remember we had some just very vivid, like a bracelet talking, red was sin and black darkness. And I just very vividly remember that downstairs, exactly kind of where that happened, near the kitchen. But that is kind of where it started. And over the years, I grew up in Christian Chapel, going to youth group here. A lot of my lifelong friends are here. I met my wife here. So there's a lot of history at Christian Chapel, but some things that kind of shaped my faith over the years. I mean, Christian Chapel is highly involved in missions, not only locally in the Tulsa area, which is key, but also internationally. And so I've been a part of mission trips to Spain, to Juarez, building homes, doing youth camps. So that's been a major part of my development as a Christian. And then also having just a solid foundation of people that have known me, know my family, and care for me and my family. has been impactful.
Yeah. And so what are some of the ways that you integrate your faith in your business?
For me, it can be difficult at times because obviously anytime you don't want to necessarily be a Bible beater, but I think circumstances in people's lives, especially when you're talking about finances, that's such a personal subject for people. And so a lot of times religion or God or faith comes up sometimes in those consults that we do. Whether somebody's, my dad has had clients who, they've just lost a family member or something like that, and we have a consult with them immediately after. And so it's how do you discuss and bring about peace and comfort, not only just in the transaction, but also in their personal lives, and trying to speak into them. On another note, I meet with a lot of agents. I'm doing a lot of marketing myself and doing coffees. And so for me, I'm not shy about my faith or how God has guided me over the years, especially through COVID and all the changes that happened in my life. I'm very open about that. So it's cool to kind of be able to share that in those moments when I'm able to, and see how people respond. Because some people don't necessarily want to open up to those things unless you do. And so sometimes it's cool to build those relationships and things develop and grow because you're more open and willing to share.
Yeah, and so the application process, the mortgage process, it seems like you can get really, really tied because it's just numbers. It's just, this is how much they make. This is different things like that. How do you make sure that they don't just become a transaction? How do you make sure that an application isn't just a transaction for you?
Yeah, great question. So especially if you're doing significant volume, it can sometimes be that, it can feel that way. For me and the team, I think it's always trying to have empathy for whatever that client's going through, that family. If they're moving here, putting yourself in their shoes. And I think our team across the board does a great job of reading clients where they're at, meeting clients where they're at, understanding kind of their perspective and what they're going through. Obviously, the home buying process can be extremely stressful. Not just for somebody personally, but it can put stresses on finances, relationships. Sometimes it can be stressful, especially if you're doing a lot of volume. But I think the way to keep people top of mind is to put yourself in their shoes, sit down with them. So that's a big part of the client consults, is sitting with those clients, discussing their needs and concerns and kind of their goals for where they want to be in the future. And I think that lays a solid foundation for respect in the transaction, but also a client feeling taken care of. And so hopefully that front-end communication and relationship building really sets up the transaction to where they see us as advisors. We're not necessarily having to reach out to them all the time because our communication is so good. But they feel like they're taken care of. And
so the home buying process, especially even getting to the point of getting a loan, can be a really long and hard process. Tell me a little bit about some of the programs that you guys have.
Yeah, so one, we want to make sure we set somebody up long-term to build wealth through real estate, and whether it's their first home or their fifth. So for clients who aren't quite ready, we wanted to take them through and paint a clear path for them. So for those clients, even if they're not quite ready, we'll still sit down and do our consult. So that's key, to show them, hey, this is where we need to get to. We're quite a ways away from that, but we don't want to shut that door for them. We want them to still have that as a goal that's obtainable for them. And so one thing we do, obviously, if they're kind of right on the cusp, whenever we look at a credit report, there's potential improvement that we can see. And so we can do what's called a wayfinder and actually look on, hey, how do we improve that client's score sometimes it can be 60 points, and it's just because they have high balances on a credit card. So we need to show that they've paid that balance down, and we can do a rescore. And so that can be helpful for clients who are kind of on the cusp, but credit-wise, but still have income and things like that. For other clients, it's walking them through, and it's not for everybody, but Dave Ramsey and the baby steps, because a lot of clients in that situation, whether it's they're having credit issues, they're having just trouble paying their bills, Dave Ramsey is an excellent motivator for people in that situation. So I've paid off $80,000 of student loans, my wife and I. We use the baby steps. It was hugely impactful for us. So giving somebody hope and knowing that, especially if it's student loans and they've got hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, showing them that there is a path forward that they can take. And so painting that picture and giving them hope. And then another thing is connecting them, whether if it's in really bad shape, connecting them with somebody who works in credit repair, or helping them, coming alongside them and can actually help them, kind of guide them and advise them on what to do to improve their credit tremendously for the long run.
So what are the initiatives that you and your team like to give back to?
So my dad's been heavily involved in the Pearl House Project, Ghana. So they provide education, safety, and discipleship to young at-risk women in Ghana, Africa. So my dad's been on the board with them before. We've helped with some of their fundraising or their galas and things like that. Another thing that's dear to my heart, I haven't been able to participate in a number of years, but I'm hoping to this year, is with Christian Chapel puts on a camp for children in the foster care system. It's called Royal Family Kids Camp, and I've been able to serve on staff before, back in high school and early college. Served on staff, did media and production, and then was able to go as a counselor one year. And so has a huge impact on not only Christian Chapel, but providing a week of camp for kids in the foster care system. Changes the kids' lives, but also the counselors' lives. So that's something that I'm hoping to get back to this year. But Christian Chapel has been, I think we're celebrating our 25th year, providing that camp for free for those kids.
That's awesome. How do people reach out to you?
So you can reach out to me through text or just calling me at any time. So my cell is 918-284-8469. My website is just my name, austinconwell.com. And I'd love to help you and anybody else on their journey to home ownership, whether it's today or in 3 years. I want to set you up for success.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.